Good evening, fellow heretics. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Captain Dadpool.
And I'm Natty Nat.
And you are watching Nerds and Heresy.
Hold on to your butts.
Joining us
Oh
tonight.
my God, we have paleontologists on.
Joannasaurus, our first paleontologist, and Nat is super excited.
Yay! I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I was gonna say we were pissing Ricky off in the background because we were about to be late to start.
They wouldn't shut up. I was like, guys, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Sorry. So I guess the first things first is plug yourself, Joanna.
Yes, tell us who you are.
Oh, hi. I'm Joannasaurus. I make content on TikTok. It's all paleontology themed. Some is educational, some is meant to be fun. And I have a master's degree in paleontology and a background in science communication and museum education. And so I decided to start my TikTok to be able to, keep my skills fresh during the pandemic, as it were. So that's what I'm up to right now. Yeah, I'm really bad at plugging myself. I'm not very good at that.
No, that's perfect. That was more concise than some people that we have offered to plug.
Oh, yes.
I give it a 7.
A 7? Yeah. I don't.
Wait, hold on. Did you see that? That was subtle as hell. She strokes her hair out of the way, shows her TikTok name.
Oh, I actually wasn't meaning to do that. I was thinking maybe
that was funny. That 7 just went to an 8.
Oh, thank you. It's funny because it was completely unintentional, because I was just thinking to myself, maybe I should talk about, I am hoping very soon to raise money for cancer research and cut some of my hair, because I've been growing it since 2020. And I thought maybe I should say that that's something that's coming up, but I haven't quite figured out the details, because my dad has also been growing his hair since 2020 and it's very long, and he wants to cut his and donate it to cancer research. So that's the only other thing I've got going on at the moment. But it's not live yet.
I did that too.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in college, I grew my hair out. Like all my hair, not just the top. It got down like past my shoulders, and I cut it off and donated it.
Nice.
So yes. Before we go any further, we have a lovely
God damn it, Pat.
Pat, I don't know if you know Pat, Joanna, but Pat is a wonderful archaeologist.
Oh, yes.
But he would like us to explain the difference between archaeology and paleontology before we go any further, just so that people understand that they are asking you about the Joannasaurus and me about the people.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really big misconception. A lot of people think archaeology and paleontology are the same thing, but paleontology is the study of ancient life based on the fossil record, and it usually deals with fossils that are older than 10,000 years old. There is some overlap between paleoanthropology, so like the study of early humans. Those people will sometimes call themselves paleontologists, rightly so. But most of the time, paleontology is life that is not humans. Archaeology tends to be, civilizations, things like that. Where you get those gray areas is when you're studying, like, the early origins of humans, and that's kind of almost its own thing, right? Where, like I said,
that is its own ball. Like I am actually more of a bridge profession between. Because I do geoarchaeology, so a lot of it's soil. But I do everything from the last 50 years all the way to, just everything.
Yeah, ice ages and stuff. Yeah,
rocks, all of it. I hit the bedrock and I just keep on going.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't really say. I will go back to the origin of Earth. Like that is, I have held a rock that is 1.35 billion years old, and I believe it was in Edmonton, Canada. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
There's that one that's at the museum there, and they're like, "Here, hold this." Yes, life began after this.
Yeah, my local museum has a really cool meteorite, and I'm like, every time I'm like,
I touched the thing.
I touch that cool meteorite, and I'm like, this is so cool. You came from outer space.
I am a slight friend, so we'll bring him up.
Is that a little trilobite?
It's a little 3D printed trilobite.
Oh my gosh! Can you send?
No, this is a little trilobite.
That's a little trilobite. This is a big trilobite.
No, wait a second. That's a big trilobite. This is a little trilobite.
Oh, look at your baby.
That's adorable.
Yeah, that's one I found a long time ago.
Goddamn, let me get this.
Yeah. Okay, you should. Sorry, you should send me the.
I can't send you the link to it, but I can send you the place that has the link to it.
Okay.
It's from a natural history museum in Missouri. They 3D print creatures to help pay for things in the museum because they do a lot of 3D printing to fill in the gaps of a lot of their larger. So now they have the second largest triceratops that they are 3D printing to.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's a big boy. His name's Henry. He's a good boy.
Oh my goodness. I was actually going to say send me the file because my husband does 3D printing and he's always rumbling that he's going to 3D print me some materials but I just haven't quite decided. There's too much. There's too many. Like, how do I decide?
They have more than just this. They have now hold on. I'm going to have to reach into the depths of my mind for a second. This was Cambrian explosion. Spiky boy has a weird name. Double spiral. Which one?
Hallucigenia?
It's the spiky boy. He looks kind of like a...
Yeah, and they had him the wrong way up. That's hallucigenia, where there's spikes and feet on one side, spikes on the other. They had him the wrong way around.
Yes.
Yeah, that's hallucigenia.
They 3D print him. He's cool.
Ooh, he's cute.
Yeah, he's cool. I don't have one of him. I did not buy one, but they make him large. And Yay, Morgan joined.
Hi.
What? Am I being talked about?
Morgan, Joanna.
Hello.
So now we have an archaeologist, a geoarchaeologist, and a paleontologist all in the same room. Yay!
I think she was talking about a fossil when she said he was cute, and you just popped in, and I had to seize the opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about hallucigenia.
For those of you that don't know what hallucigenia is there any chance Dadpool could look it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Hallucigenia.
He does have that ability. Hallucigenia. When you see him, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say this is a weird, oddball post-Cambrian explosion.
Yeah, it's part of the Burgess Shale fauna, which is that's an area that's very, very well preserved fossils. The Burgess Shale is in the mountains of British Columbia, and it's an area that's extremely famous. It has things like Anomalocaris, which is like huge for the time, predatory creature. And the thing is, they've all been preserved in very fine sediments, probably from areas. Landslide.
Spiky boy.
Underwater landslide that kind of covered them all. And so you have soft-bodied creatures like Pacaya, which is probably one of the earliest ancestors of vertebrates like us, because it has some of the features that we would look for in one of those early ancestors. And it has a lot of weird and wacky stuff that we honestly are still working on, like what it's related to, and new stuff is coming out of there all the time. So usually when you have fossils, of course, you have a preservation bias for things that are hard. So bones, shells, teeth, those sorts of things. Soft-bodied things can fossilize, but it needs the right conditions. So
yeah, that's a good, a decent size. Having a pen tip next to him, yeah.
Yeah, he's a cutie patootie. Cutie patootie.
He's my little spiky boy.
He's a wee little creature.
Any nerds in the audience? Does this remind you of Attack on Titan?
I don't know Attack on Titan, but it does remind me of Beetlejuice quite a bit.
Titan is weird.
I'm a big Beetlejuice fan, and the artwork and the moving artwork in Beetlejuice reminded me of Cambrian explosion ever since I was a little kid. So it just did. Pat, we're not gonna fight yet.
Fight? Fight for what? What are we fighting?
It's
just wanting this to grudge match because Pat.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I did my paleontology degree through a geology department, so all my best friends are geologists.
I like her. So I have worked with so many both paleontologists and archaeologists, and it just seems like they can never get along because they can never decide. Whenever it comes to timing, everybody gets mad at each other, which is obnoxious. And then they get mad about how preserved certain fossils are, and they'll be like, well, ththese artifacts are better preserved and better protected. And they're like, no, that's not a thing. It's like artifacts are absolutely stolen constantly. And then the paleontologist, like, have you seen the amount of people that just like see a giant dinosaur bones from it? And I'm like, yes, you are both correct. But no, everybody gets mad at each other. It's very fast. And I'm just sitting there, like, sipping my tea, like, this is really exciting.
Nobody takes the rocks unless there's something really cool, like sparkly and shiny.
Now, the only time I get upset is when someone comes in and digs up the dirt before I have a chance to look at the profile.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that will upset me.
Yeah.
I mean, I will still be upset about the others because I don't like coming in secondhand and like seeing stuff missing. That sucks.
No, that is really well.
As far as my job's concerned,
it's
I just need to see it.
Fight happens after 3 drinks.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, 3 drinks is nothing, though.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's why
within our field, 3 drinks is really nothing. It's after we've each downed a pint, like after we've each downed a pitcher, then we got to start working on things.
Yeah, but again, like I said, all my best friends are geologists, so I might be a little bit. I'm a paleontologist with rock at heart, you know.
Well, you're museum studies and museum education.
Yeah, so museum education,
so that does change things a lot with your perspective. You don't focus, not to speak for you, but you have
the language of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, but you have a great sense of bringing the information forward without overwhelming the audience. Which is something that a lot of archaeologists and a lot of paleontologists and a lot of geologists have difficulty doing.
And it is not something that was always easy for me too. And my parents still do this to me as a child. They used to yell, "Summarize, summarize."
Oh, they yelled summarize? Oh,
yeah, because I
at least they were interested.
Yeah. Yeah, my family's just like, that's nice, dear.
Oh, so that happened with me at my family too, because my family are all math and computer science and engineering, except for me and my aunt, who are both, she has geology and in her background, I, of course, paleontology. So sometimes they would nerd out about like, you know, equations and stuff. And we would just look across the table at each other and be like, how about that feldspar? Yeah, let's
talk about that feldspar.
How about how well sorted were those grains? And we just like yell geology things back and forth at each other.
Look that cleavage over there.
Yeah, that's great cleavage. That's some very nice cleavage.
That's some very nice cleavage. You know, So I live on I've been calling this hornblende mountain. That is literally what I live on. I live on a giant hornblende mountain. You walk out, it's all hornblende, just all of it, and the plagioclase is everywhere, and it's just chaotic as shit. And then you literally go one mountain over, and I'm just like, hornblende, nice, schist. It's like each mountain has its own. And I'm just like, when I go hiking, I can tell where I am based on what rock
rock it is. Yeah.
I have remedied this horrible situation. I'm not following you, Joanna.
Oh, yay! Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I have a great story. My first year geology field camp, we were out in the woods, and the first camp was where we were staying had to be a dry camp because we were borrowing it from scouts. Like we were using a scouting camp, so they were like, you can't. Right. But then the second camp, they were like, this is just a hotel of cabins, so we're gonna drop you at this liquor store, and then you can, you know, bring whatever you want back.
Drop the liquor store before you go.
Yeah, she's like, you're like, here's the liquor store, and you can buy whatever you want as long as you can walk back to camp with it because we're not driving you. And then they drove off and left us. So everybody got a lot of stuff to drink. Yes, and then everybody.
Does this include, if you know about ancient technology that's very simplistic, like a travois, how much you can carry?
Okay, so there was a road to walk along. There was a road between the liquor store and they left us with our backpacks, so people were putting things like we, you know. Anyway, we did acquire too much of that, unfortunately. Hold on. We did acquire too much of that, and so then we overindulged.
Wow.
And then the very next day, they walked us up to the top of a quartzite mountain, so bright white, beating sun. It was like 30 degrees Celsius.
You guys got the biggest sunburn
and
in all
then
the
they
directions.
talked to us about paleo sea level for like an hour. And we were all of us like, oh,
don't even
and
get
I
me
could just see our
paleo sea levels.
professors laughing at us the whole time. We're just like,
the brightest location they could find.
Yes,
Absolutely
they certainly did. And this one TA like passed around some cookies, and we were like, "Bless you! Oh my gosh, this is the most."
I would have just started crying. I would have just straight up started crying, like, "Oh my god, cookies!"
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We all have field stories. We all have those. That is the one thing that bonds all of the field studies together. Is everybody has field stories. None are ever quite as crazy as geologists and archaeologists and paleontologists. Like, because we spend so much time in seclusion compared to others. It's just like, it blows people's mind. They're like, "How long were you out there?" "A month."
Yeah.
"A month?" It's like, yeah, we went to town twice.
Yeah. I went to the high Arctic. So we flew, and I was in Houghton Crater, and that's where I did my fieldwork for my master's. And so we were mostly alone, but there was another camp about a 45 minute ATV ride from where we were. And so every so often, you know, we would encounter people in the crater because they were coming down to do soil sample transects and things like that. And we were there to look for fossils. But most of the time you assume you're alone. But yeah, we would go visit the other camp, and we were like living on like dehydrated, food in order to keep the weight down because it had to all be shipped, right? And, everything was getting rehydrated and everything. But they were a much larger camp that was kind of more established. And they had like a cook that was making like croissants and stuff.
But no, Pat, that's not going to work because I have a finite amount in the bottle here, and that's just not going to be fair.
Morgan, do you happen to have your headset by any chance?
I can get it.
Yeah. So.
There's a little bit of fuzz coming in from his side.
There's a little bit of floof.
Just a little bit of static.
Yes.
Tiny bit.
Every time someone says that, reminds me of Winnie the Pooh. There was a bit of floof in my ear. It's gone now.
In my ear.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that better?
Yes. So I thought I saw something. I saw a question go by, but I didn't catch it because we were reminiscing about field work, but I don't know.
Shenanigans.
We were. Oh, you're using your phone. You probably can't see the comments.
Oh, I might be able to. Hold on. Nope. No, I can't see the comment. I can see them pop up, but I can't.
I don't see any questions. I see Pat being snarky.
Pat's being snarky.
Pat is being very snarky. He said, "Any dinosaur bones I key with a paleontologist's car."
Pat, it's going to cost you a lot more than $2 to get me drunk, brother.
Dinosaur bones.
Pat's going to start saying the word alien a bunch. Oh, wait, did I just do that?
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
Oh, damn.
My trigger word is Atlantis, just in case you want to know, Joanna.
My trigger word I'm sorry, I have zero way of working that into things. Zero way at all.
When people say it's like, oh yeah, geologists just want to hide Atlantis from happening because obviously.
Hey, Imus.
Hello.
She's coming over next week, or week after next.
Is she really?
She is. She's
that's awesome.
Coming this way for vacation.
So I guess I got to lower the whole quality of the conversation down to just petty or ridiculous. Joanna, have you found any artifacts?
Like archaeological artifacts?
Archaeological artifacts.
Sadly, I have not. I have not. I've never been in a place where that was. So I mean, I could have possibly found some when I was in the Badlands, but I never came across anything. And then my field work in the Arctic was in an area that was on Devon Island, Nunavut, which is completely uninhabited by people at the moment and for a long time. Yeah. So we were finding like, bones, and like there was a muskox that ran by.
Ooh.
And then
that's worth it.
Yeah, a year or two before I was there, the same camp, but the same team, but like before I was part of that team,
I guess I could take this down.
they had a polar bear come, and like they were like, "What is that? Is somebody visiting the camp?" "Oh no, that's a polar bear," and they had to like stay away and watch it like walk around their camp. They said it was very polite, and it took a very
that's very nice.
Around. Yeah, so
they like to look. They're very curious. They won't necessarily come up to you, but they do like to wander around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of like what happened Wednesday.
You had the grizzly thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I closed the door of the truck and I look up, and through the 2 panes of glass to the passenger side is a grizzly bear sticking his head up over the bank.
Oh, man.
He was probably 25 feet away.
Oh, gosh. I'm really glad that I've never had such an encounter. We did carry a shotgun at all times just in case. There was a question about
Charles. Are we all just jumping on this bandwagon? I feel like
why do people want me to be drunk? I don't sing. I don't dance. Because I don't sing or dance. I don't end up stripping.
Was I supposed to bring a drink? Was I supposed to have a beer? Like
you can if you wish.
You're welcome to have a beer.
I mean, I could go get one, but like I just feel like,
No, they're punishing me.
Why? Why do they want you?
I don't know.
I don't either.
You must be entertaining in some fashion.
Might be my fault.
No, I ramble when I drink.
Yes.
So do I.
I will.
Yeah, that's me.
It's the nature of our field, I think.
Yeah.
We get drunk, and then we have to explain everything, but it always leads to another story, which leads to another story, and then you just keep going.
Okay. Have you ever gone to a place where it has one of those beautiful countertops full of garnets when you're drunk, and then have to like marvel at the garnets over and over again? Like this has happened to me on multiple occasions. I get into a loop about these beautiful garnets, and then
been there,
and then I'm very embarrassed.
I can beat this because I was once drunk. I was once tipsy at a friend's house who had recently redone her kitchen, and it was lovely. Here's the issue: it was marble. It was marble, nice and garnets. Okay, so like just picture these amazing swirls, amazing.
Yes,
like the striations were just
beautiful,
right? She had taken it. She had broken them, and then she had. Oh wait, it gets better. It gets better.
You mean she took it for granted?
He broke them and then rearranged them so that they looked like puzzles, kind of, to refit them all together.
No.
I got your joke, Ricky. I heard you.
I did.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you.
And I remember her ordering this slab, showing up, being like, "Wow, this slab's gonna look beautiful," leaving, and then coming back a month later and seeing her counter and being like,
"You did what?
You broke it." And she was like, "Yeah, I didn't like the way it just sat there." So she like filled it in with resin between everything. No. And I was like, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And now, how long has she been missing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. So this is before I ever actually graduated with my degree, but very heavy into archaeology classes, into artifacting and typology and stuff like that. You know you're an archaeologist when you are examining the maker's mark on the beer bottles at the bar while you're drinking.
Yes.
Yes. You know you're in archaeology when you look at the trash without realizing what you're looking at. Like when you're drunk and you're at a party and you see someone throw something on the ground, you decide to examine the trash before you throw it away.
Oh, I haven't been that bad, but
that one was but like somebody had bought like some of those old fashioned that is the modern like cane sugar Coke bottles. And so like there were a few of them on the ground that had already been drunk, and I was like looking at them like, Oh, wow.
Okay, I think I might win because I wasn't even drunk when I did this. A very good friend of mine and I were in this building, and the tile was made out of limestone, fossiliferous limestone.
Oh.
And we
call
were
that-
looking at it, and we were looking at each other, and we were looking at it, and we looked at each other, and then we were like, we're going to look at these fossils. So we got down on the floor in the women's bathroom and started identifying the fossils in the fossiliferous limestone tiles in this building. And someone walked into the bathroom while we were doing this, and we're like, we have a geology degree.
I lost the contact.
I'm not gonna lie. If you ever go to the Chicago Field Museum,
I want to go there so bad.
Do they say what?
I want to go there so bad. I keep looking at
it's amazing. I have multiple contacts. If you do ever go, let me know, and I do know some of the background stuff.
I do know someone who works there.
Oh, okay,
yeah, so I would love to go and see him because I haven't seen him in a long time, but I've never been to the Chicago Field Museum. I knew him when we worked other places together, and through paleontology conferences and things like that. So
they have beautiful, beautiful marble columns, but at the base of those marble columns is limestone. Beautiful, beautiful limestone. Mm-hmm. It's not just phosphorilicious; it's calcareous. So they're crinoids.
Oh, beautiful! A crinoid hash. And crinoid hash. Oh, cool.
It's just a ton of them. So when
beautiful ossicles.
We had
I have some crinoids. Let's find them.
There was a day that we were there, and we had
These are not.
Oh yeah.
Can you see them? Little crinoid stalks. Crinoid stalks.
Right.
What else do I have?
My highest viewed video ever on TikTok is talking about crinoids.
Is that
really?
Oh my gosh. So
my highest
we had a competition with chalk to take a little bit of chalk and like a colored piece of chalk and find the longest crinoid that we could find.
Oh, cool.
And mark it and then see if we could measure where they were. Yeah. I think the longest one we found was 5 inches, which was actually pretty impressive.
Yes.
But it wasn't continuous, but like we could tell it was.
Yeah, it had broken slightly, but it was still the same one. Yeah.
I'm glad you said 5 inches is impressive and not.
Well,
I'm glad you used that word impressive thank you.
No, so we were down in Louisiana for a dig for a long ass time, and there was an area that was how do I put this? It was very degraded. There were bits of very degraded calcareous limestone. Very small. Like there was a bunch of it, but it was really, really degraded. It was super weathered. And we kept coming up and finding certain things. And by we, I mean like a lot of the archaeologists were coming to me. They're like, oh my gosh, we found more beads. We found more beads. And I was like, okay, let's see those beads. Let's see them. And they'd hand me a crinoid.
Yeah. That's a crinoid.
It's not a
bead. It happens.
It does happen. And like the thing is, the week before we had found an antler bead. And it was very, very obvious.
Similar.
Your antler bead. Because it was, carved everything, had like a drill mark for the hole, everything. But then they're like finding all these crinoids, and the next thing you know, it's like at the end of the day, people were finding like hundreds of crinoids, and I was having to go through like piece by piece, trying to be like crinoid. Like,
I have never actually found a bead.
A bead?
No.
I found the closest thing I found to a bead was an argillite nose plug.
Oh, that's cool though. I've never found a nose plug. That beats our beads.
I'm sad I've never found any archaeological artifacts, but I mean,
you also aren't digging for them.
No, I wasn't looking for them either. When you're looking for something and you find it, that's very exciting. The crinoids thing reminded me of this story. So for my master's thesis, I had to go to the Smithsonian to look at samples in their collections. They have a lot of modern bones, and I was using this as a comparison to my fossil. Oh, nice! And so they're closed on the weekends, as you know. The collections is closed on the weekends, and so I was there for 2 weeks. And I went. And so on the weekends, I actually just visited the museums. And so I went to the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, and there was this huge crinoid block, and I was like muttering and like looking at it really closely.
You're talking about like the 7-foot by like 10-foot one that has the heads and everything.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And like I said, I was muttering.
They pulled that from Ohio. Ohio. That was the Ohio fossil, and it was amazing.
Yeah. So they were. Yeah, like people were like giving me these weird looks because I'm like muttering and like touching this fossil and like so close to it. And then later on, I was in another part, which is probably all redone now because this was a while ago that I was there. And there was this area that was talking about the transition of vertebrates from water to land. And somebody just like asked a random question about it. Like, I don't get it. And I was like, well, and I started like answering their question. And I like went into a bunch of detail about like limb evolution and how it was possibly like, not necessarily actually for land first, like they evolved limbs before they got on land and it was being used for other purposes and this, that, and the other thing. And that this is a transitional fossil and like explaining the exhibit to them. And they were like, oh, thank you so much. Do you work here? And I was like, no, I'm from Canada. And then I just like was like really awkward and then just like disappeared into the crowd.
That's not how you answer that question. It's like, do you work here? No. You don't say I'm from Canada. You're like, no, I'm a
You should have just been like,
I did that at Chichen Itza.
I know. Because in my head I was like, I can't work here because I'm like, I think like I'm pretty sure the hiring they try and hire Americans first. And I was like, I'll just explain, like I don't work here, like because I'm not from here. But then it didn't make any sense, and I was like, this is too awkward, and I didn't know how to make my exit, so I just like kind of backed away into the crowd and never saw them again. And I wondered where that person is.
How a geologist makes a proper exit.
There you go.
It was literally like
say something random and then slowly fade into the background, pretending we don't.
Oh my gosh, it's still one of my favorite. It's still one of my favorite memories of like it was such a good interaction up until that point. Like I was like educating and interpreting that. That was like my museum education was coming out and I was loving it. And then I was like, no, I don't know how to wrap this up. I don't know how to say this. Okay, bye.
I don't know how to end.
Yeah.
The end is nigh.
For sure. Yeah.
I did the same thing at Chichen Itza.
Oh.
But I was like, it was me and the tour guide. The local guy who was guiding the tour. So we're like bouncing off of each other and everybody's just like
oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, samesies whenever it comes to like trail rides, because everywhere I go, I tend to meet horse people, and we end up going on trail rides. And I will stop in an outcrop with the horses and be like, look, I'm higher up than I normally am, and like start pointing things out. And the guide is just like, oh, I didn't know that. That's in our own backyard. That's amazing.
Yeah, I went to the Grand Canyon once, and it was like a special thing like that my mom got for me. We did like a helicopter tour to the Grand Canyon, so they like helicoptered us in. And I was like, what formation is this? These look like sandstones. How old are they? And the guy's like, I don't know. I just drive the helicopter. And no answer.
I don't know, lady. I just fly the copter.
I just fly this.
Yeah.
Flying like, Cuisinart.
No one's ever asked me. He said, no one's ever asked me. I know a few things. They taught me a few things, but no one's ever asked me this. I'm like, oh, dang
There is down at the Grand Canyon. There's a little. There's a few centers that are like education centers.
Yeah.
But one of them is an outdoor time scale walk.
Right.
It's
right.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Where it like shows like it has like little steps and like you're at step number 1. This is the first 100,000 years. Blah blah blah. And it like goes on and talks about that. I went through all the steps and I went through all of them and I was like, they have a few mistakes and it was making me sad. I was just like, that timeline doesn't quite fit, and that's not the rock you're talking about. You're grabbing one that's really close to it, but that's not the one.
Yeah. Yeah. I never got to go to any of the interpretive centers. It just wasn't in the card. So they like, it was a weird, like it wasn't the main part of the Grand Canyon that they brought us to. It was like a little small, it was like a different area. And there was like picnic tables, and they gave us a lunch with like champagne, and it was cool. And it was, and it was beautiful, but I would like to go back someday and like actually like do more of a.
My cousin to come with me. So we went to the Grand Canyon. He was like, this is awesome. We should hike this. We should do that. And I was like, yeah, I'm down for it. And then I was like, I really want to go see the horseshoe. And he was like, where's the horseshoe? And I'm like, it's another 2.5 hours away. still part of the canyon though. And he's like, as long as we stop at all the stops between here and the horseshoe. And I was like, done. It took us a day, like a whole freaking day, to just make every single stop and make a lookout. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I told you this, Morgan. He is deploying again.
You told me.
Okay. Was not sure if I had mentioned that. Sorry, that's a different.
No worries. Where in the Badlands, Joanna? I heard you say you were in the Badlands.
Yes. I was in the Badlands of Alberta mostly.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was. I lived there for a while.
That's close by.
But then I moved. I'm not there anymore. I moved away.
Oh.
I'm sad. I'm sad that I worked away.
That's close to here anyway.
Morgan's Missoula.
I see.
Yes,
that's very
in
like.
Montana.
I see. So you're like, you have lots of very similar.
Just so I feel like I'm contributing something.
Badlands.
I'm gonna bring up pictures of things.
The Badlands. Yeah.
Yes.
So
there. Oh, look those hoodoos. Hey, my first job, my first summer job at the museum was to sit in front of those hoodoos and say, hey,
do not
stay
push
on the path.
hoodoo.
Don't get up. Excuse me, sir. You're on the wrong side of the orange tape. You need to go the other side of the orange tape. Now they have interpretive walkways and stuff, so that job is not required anymore. But like that was my first summer job, was to protect those hoodoos and make sure and like save people who had like climbed too high up. I had to like climb up and help them down.
If you would do me a favor, Ricky, could you look up it is Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and look up the sandstone concretions. I did the same thing one time. I ruined like 5 families' vacations because they all wanted to take these lovely things that looked like ball sacks and push them down the hill.
Yeah.
They were at the top of these little tiers.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up literally guarding them for a day without getting paid to do it. Yep, there they are.
Card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
But there's a bunch that are at the top of the mountain that they wanted to push down the mountain.
I would absolutely.
We have an entire mountain range here within the district called the Hoodoos.
Mm-hmm.
Not actually any hoodoos in it.
They look like ball sacks. It's amazing. Anyway, sorry, I just had to.
Yeah, they're very round. Those concretions are very round. There's a few of them that are round like that near the other hoodoo site, but it's more of them are flat, kind of shapes. But yeah, it was.
You can also see the flat hoodoos that are forming between those two structures. So like those ones are just a little bit younger.
Yeah.
So they just haven't been eroded away the same way that the hoodoos up where you are or where you were had been. So it's all an age thing. It's all weathering. It happens eventually.
Not that.
Pat.
Oh no, Pat.
Lame, Pat.
Lame.
Oh,
whatever in the real world is pulling you away is lame.
Unless
it's your wife, she's a lovely person.
That's her.
Yeah.
She's a nice lady.
So Nat, you said that I should talk about the Alberta Historical Resources Act.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, Morgan, catch this.
Do you know about the Alberta Historical Resources Act?
No, I do not.
Okay, so the Alberta Historical Resources Act is a law in the province of Alberta that protects all archaeological and paleontological artifacts. It says that you cannot buy, sell, trade, or excavate without a proper permit. And there's only a few things that I don't know about archaeology, what's exempt, but in paleontology, there's a few things that are exempt. So fossilized wood, plants, and I think ammonites have an exemption that you are allowed to sell those things. But like a piece of bone, even if it's just a tiny scrap, is not allowed to be sold without a permit. It was enacted in 1973. So there are some fossils that are grandfathered in. They have special permits that they are allowed to be sold because they were collected before that.
Sure.
But every fossil that is in the province belongs to the Crown, like it belongs to everybody, the people of Alberta. And the fossil repository for the province is the Royal Tyrrell Museum, or there's also like universities and stuff like that. If you find a fossil, you're not allowed to dig it up. It's a $50,000 fine or 1 year in jail if you break the law.
Now, does it matter if it's on public or private property?
No. So if you're on private land,
that's where the big difference
in the ground.
There it is.
It's still illegal to dig it up, even if it's your own property. And this is the thing, if they're doing construction work and they come across a fossil, they have to halt everything and they call in the paleontologists from the museum, and they excavate it as quickly as they can, and then they get back to work. And this is how some of the most incredible finds have been found, like the incredible Borealopelta armored dinosaur that has like scale and skin fossilized on it. It was found in the oil sands by a worker there, and he noticed it when he was digging and stopped.
The oil sands, though. I have
yes, but there is like,
there's no way I spelled that right first try. There's
Borealopelta. You can also look up Suncor and Kylosaur. That was its little nickname before, but yeah, so even even if you're in your own backyard and there's a fossil, if it's on the surface, you're allowed to surface collect it, but you're not allowed to alter it in any way. So you're not allowed to like glue it back together or scrape at it or anything like that. And if you ever leave the province, it has to stay. It's not allowed to leave. So when I left, when I moved away, all the fossils that I had legally surface collected on Crown land or private land where I had permission, I left in the care of my education department at the museum. I said, you can have these for educational purposes. I can't take them with me.
It is similar in the States, dealing with federal CRM law. Don't give me a sneer, Nat.
It's similar, but it's not, because private property doesn't count for any of it.
Unless it's indigenous.
Now that Pat leaves, the fighting starts.
Yeah, see?
Now that Pat leaves, yes.
So, and in Montana, now I did a big spiel on every single state and the territories.
It's true.
And all of the federal agencies, specifically on the legality of doing artifact collecting, because I go toe to toe with ancient aliens and all of the people who think picking arrowheads in bottles is fun.
Cheers.
So, I've explained multiple times that on federal land, period, the end, anything cultural over 50 years old or older, you cannot pick up. You cannot dig without a permit. The requirements of a permit is an educational institution like university or a private sector CRM firm in the process of doing cultural mitigation. If you get caught, it is a $250,000 fine and up to 3 years in jail. Plus, they get to keep all your stuff, your truck, your metal detector, stuff like that. And on private land in Montana, I think the only place, of course, it's exempt unless it's a burial is Florida, naturally. Texas is surprisingly strict on private land and indigenous artifacts.
But that's because they like to make sure people don't trespass on oil. So that's the reason why those are strict.
I will dance with the devil on that one. I will accept it.
The reason why it's there.
Because if it's indigenous, you're not supposed to mess with it at all. You're supposed to report it. And then of course we get lots of people who are like, well, it's my land, I'll do what I want. And then we dislike them. Fossils, however, no vertebrates at all.
Anything
you cannot collect, touch, take home at all. And the reason why Sioux, the Tyrannosaurus Sioux, is such a, it's not really a big conspiracy.
Controversy?
It's a controversy. So the idea was that the Tyrannosaurus Sioux was taken from somebody who wanted to sell it because they found it on private land. And what nobody seems to realize is that Indian Bureau land is federal land. Yeah. And Indian Bureau land is, you get a grazing lease on it. That is not ownership. Yeah. So the guy who tried to sell Sioux got in trouble because they excavated it illegally because it was on a grazing lease. And naturally, unless you go and talk to the range manager or the intern for the range manager at the field office somewhere, the only person you have to talk to is the guy who's leasing the ground. And if you've ever leased a car, it's your car, it's his ground. Therefore, the controversy of Sioux came about. Yeah. you're supposed to report dinosaurs, period, the end.
Yeah.
You can keep 25 pounds of fossilized wood or fancy crystals or minerals.
Can we switch back to petrified wood, please? Sorry.
No.
Fossilized wood, although beautiful, is different than petrified wood. And I just wanted to make that clear. Fossilized wood is normally a cast and or mold of the wood itself, whereas petrified is the actual wood that has been completely transitioned. Anyway, sorry, go on. You can continue.
Tomato.
Wood. No vertebrate fossils you can collect also 25 pounds a day, but you cannot sell, you cannot barter, they cannot leave your possession. So when you go to the rock shows, everybody there is breaking the law.
Yeah, I don't know all the laws. Like some provinces in Canada have different laws, and so every province is different. But Alberta's are the strictest and best. And
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
And the thing is, a lot of the public is very aware of these laws, and so they report things. And we get a lot of people being like, "Hey, I found something," and there's they've done a really great job of messaging. Like, if you find something, leave it where it is. Take a lot of pictures and email the museum, and maybe your find will be the next big thing. And then the museums and universities do pay honor to the people often who find these things. They make sure that they're part of the the news releases, and they make sure that they're part of if it's a new species, sometimes they'll name it after that person. Not always, but or they'll put their names in the exhibit and be like, it was found by so and so. Like they do a good job of and that person is honoring that person. So
that's what would happen really here if people weren't like
it's mine,
thinking everybody's out to get them, or that finders keepers.
It's mine.
I mean,
I was given permission once to go fossil hunting on public land by the outfit that was essentially leasing the property, and it was a finders keepers situation. You could keep fossilized wood. You could keep anything that didn't have a spine.
Right. Did you mean petrified wood?
Wood-shaped rocks. Wood-shaped rocks.
Yeah.
Fake wood. Not real wood. Devil wood. The devil put it there, remember, to trick us all. I was, 11? And the girl that absolutely made the entire field trip awful because she did not want to be there and she was getting dust on her shoes, found a femur to a myosaur in the parking lot.
What?
Oh, we were in Shoto, Egg Mountain.
Oh my gosh. A myosaur femur.
Yeah.
That is
so
incredible.
they closed the parking lot. They closed the parking lot off and made everybody move.
As one should.
That was a whole nother deposit that they had not previously recorded. Like Jack Horner's name is not on that report. It is the intern who was babysitting a bunch of middle schoolers from Hall, Montana.
Wow.
I think we just heard Morgan's origin story. From that moment on, I was determined to dedicate my life to archaeology.
Because
my origin story was
better. Found the most amazing paleontology artifact.
No, I was going to be a paleontologist. I wanted to be an archaeologist and a paleontologist. And I was going to be. And then for some reason, even though I watched a lot of Stargate and was inspired by the nerdy guy in glasses who saved the world, and you didn't have to be, hero football player guy to save the world, which is what I was stuck around. For some reason, I thought you had to go to Oxford to be an archaeologist. I don't know why, but you could go to Bozeman and become a paleontologist. And then I found out how much math that requires. And at least for your general eds here, where they want to fleece you as much as they possibly can. And I went, oh, I don't math good, so no.
Yeah, I feel you on the. It's sad. I don't like statistics. And you have to always do statistics, and I don't like them. And I would much rather do calculus. Why can't it be calculus? That made more sense for me for some reason. But I totally understand the math was something that really I was worried about. So I was going to be a history teacher. And then I took 1 year of history and I dropped both my history courses. And I thought that's not a good sign if I'm dropping the courses that are my major. And then, my mom told me that there was a new paleontology program starting close by. And I was like, oh, well, that's
tell me more.
Like, and I was like, I knew more when I was 4 and I said I wanted to be a paleontologist than I do now, apparently. And I'll just follow that 4-year-old me and figure out where it takes me. And that's where it is now. That's where I am now. So, I went through all, did the undergrad, did the master's, discovered my love for the science communication and museum education side of things through my summer work, and then went off to work at the museum for years and years and years, and then all the way now to TikTok. So there you go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. But it was I wanted to be one. Every year I want to be a paleontologist. I want to be a paleontologist. Like, people that knew me in elementary school were like, you liked dinosaurs, right? Like, that was their thing that they remembered about me all those years later. And then when I was about 14, I'm like, there are not that many paleontologists in the world. Like, maybe this is not a career choice. Like, maybe I'm going to set myself up here. And I mean, it is not
You
easy.
have to be really decent to actually get a job as a paleontologist. Like, I have to say that's, you got to know what you're doing.
But you also have to be lucky. There's a lot of luck involved. Like, you have to know, like, there's networking and connections, and, you have to be involved with the right people at the right time. Like, there's a lot of things like that to get a position, it's a lot of, and there's a lot of hard work and a lot of, postdocs and a lot of, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that, there's not just being a paleontologist, like a research paleontologist at a museum or a university. There's lots of other things. There's a lot of people who are preparation technicians and educators like me, and collections managers. And
preparation tech is awesome. Let me tell you right now, if you like, so I, one of the girls that went to school with me for a while, she started in geology. She left it. She ended up getting like a communications degree, but now she works at a museum. I don't know where. I want to say Minnesota, but I'm not entirely positive. But
you bet you don't.
She's she's a prepper. Like, not so she's an artist though. Like, she's always painting. Yeah. So she's just like, it's like instead of putting things on, I'm taking things away. She's just like, she loves it. She gets to sandblast stuff all the time. Although I will say the calluses on her hands make her look like she's a rancher, which is pretty impressive.
Nice.
Well, I mean, the people who are preparation technicians are like really talented human beings. The work that they do is unbelievably painstaking and difficult. I mean, sometimes it's easy and it all just like, the sandstone or whatever comes away really easily and it's a fast prep. But there are things that take years and years and years. And if you are not good at that job, you can destroy like important scientific.
So one of the tests for becoming a artifacts prepper or a paleontology prep team for a museum is to take the one type of thing that's actually rather common, which saying that in paleontology is kind of weird, but the Burgess shale fish, they will give you a Burgess shale fish.
Oh no, not Burgess shale. I think you're talking about the Green River shale.
Green River found it.
Yeah. Yeah, Green River shale.
Sorry, no, Burgess shale is a different one. Yes. The Green River. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay. I knew exactly what fish you were talking
kind of
about.
like fossilized wood and petrified wood.
No, this is different. This is a locale thing. But you were given like one of those little fish that, kind of half of it's on, half of it's off. Part of the skull's like, it looks like it's missing, but it's under there. And you're like, you're given like 20 minutes to do as much detailing on it as possible, without damaging it. And she will take a picture beforehand, and then she will take a picture afterhand, and she'll go through and mark all of the errors that you did. And I mean, she's just like, also like, or if you don't have any errors, she'll be like, you could have done this faster. Like, you could have done farther. Like, you could have done more. And
Was this where I upset everybody now?
Go ahead.
I was on a project in Tempe in 2016 where we found a turtle the size of a small Volkswagen. And
Archelon?
Yep. And the University of Arizona.
Archelon.
Archelon.
With a
the
C.
University of Arizona could not be bothered to send a paleontologist.
Oh.
So the archaeologists were told to take it out of the ground, and we did, like a burial, in 4 quadrants.
Oh, yep. Well, I mean, there is a lot of mapping that goes on in paleontology now. Like that is something that, like, you know, it used to be like, let's get these bones out of the ground as fast as we can, but they do a lot more mapping of positions now. And because
I'm used to the poor.
They expected us to take it out in one
plaster
piece.
And then lift.
Oh yeah.
And plaster it in one piece. And no, the boss was like,
yeah. Breaking it down can sometimes be tricky because you want to, sometimes it's physically impossible to break it down, physically impossible to take it in one block, right? Like it's just too heavy. So there have been some that they've done, like skulls of giant things have to go in one block because you're not going to break the skull. The skull is such an important part of the skeleton in terms of the information that it carries. So, you know, when you have a really big animal with a really big skull, like a big ichthyosaur, let's say, that's going to go in one big thing. And that's when you have to call in like really huge helicopters and stuff to get that out of the thing.
Like the Triceratops skulls out of Hell's Gap.
Like Henry, who's now in Missouri. But yes.
Yeah.
Now the dueling dinosaurs is in North Carolina.
Oh, wait, is that the Protoceratops and the Velociraptor?
Oh my God.
No, that is the Tyrannosaur and the Triceratops that were found in battle.
I totally forgot about that. And now
the reality is that it looks like they were washed into a hole during a flash flood.
Yeah.
But they look like they're
But that's cool, though.
I wish it was the Raptor and Protoceratops.
Yeah, sorry.
That was like,
you said that, I'm like, that is
a
really
T-Rex
famous fossil.
and Triceratops?
Is it on tour?
Yeah,
you know?
and it's the
like
thing is that
million years apart.
No, T-Rex and Triceratops were some of the dinosaurs that lived right at the end of the age of dinosaurs.
You're thinking
about
Stegosaurus.
Yeah,
Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's because this fossil was on private property. This fossil is one of the. So there's a guy who has a show called Dinosaur Hunter or whatever. He's the guy that found this, unfortunately, and he at least understood the importance of trying to take it all out in one big chunk. And what ended up happening is which one is this?
I'm not sure. I just typed in dueling dinosaur fossils.
Okay. The one that there's one in Mongolia.
Yeah, which is
Protoceratops
and a Velociraptor. And that's the one that, like, when I see it, it reminds me of like the Romeo. I don't know why, but it reminds me of the Romeo and Juliet skeletons. You know that people, even though
I can see that now.
Weird though.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to make a joke about that in a TikTok forever, but I don't know how to do it.
They actually killed each other though.
Yeah.
So the claws of the raptor are in the stomach of the Protoceratops, and the raptor is holding its head. But the Protoceratops has a big parrot-like beak, which, if you've ever been bit by a parrot, and it's actually punctured the chest cavity of the raptor.
You can see scars, which is amazing. Which is why.
And then it's thought that while they're actually fighting, the sand dune collapsed over them or something like that, and they were buried. Yeah. So the skeletons themselves were not disarticulated by scavengers.
Yeah, there's a lot of
sandstone, weren't they? I forgot about
that. The T-Rex and the Triceratops that were found in the Hell Gap Formation. It is a Triceratops and a Tyrannid. They don't know if it's a full-grown T-Rex or a relative of a T-Rex. Right. It is a Tyrannid.
A Tyrannosaur. Like a Tyrannosaur, like family. Tyrannosaur is this family. Hell Creek Formation though? Hell Creek Formation, and so it doesn't have a skull, and that's why they can't identify it. Or what is the?
I think it has a partial skull.
Okay,
but it's smaller.
It's small.
It's smaller,
so
and they think
juvenile,
it's either juvenile or it's one of these like Gigantosaurus.
Albertosaurus, Daspletosaurus, Gorgosaurus, those are all the Tyrannosaurs, but a lot of them have temporal separation. So I'm wondering if it's like in an area where it's possible.
I think it's like the nose and the upper jaw, and then parts of the bottom jaw are still
You'd
intact.
think if they had any of the teeth, you'd be able to identify or at least lower.
Tyrannosaurus rex teeth are slightly different. A Gorgosaurus and Albertosaurus, for instance, those teeth are pretty similar, but you would, based on where you were in the formation,
started working on it.
I see.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So
this is
it was privately owned.
Is that what I'm hearing?
And the guy was wanting to sell it.
I can jump in.
And it finally was sold for some lots and lots of money number to the museum in Raleigh.
Right.
Well, I don't know what it was.
I know. Lots of money number is the greatest number ever.
Lots of
big bags of cash with the dollar signs
all
on
of the
them.
money
They
dollars.
chucked it at them.
All of the money dollars. You have to have a monocle
all of the
and
money
a mustache.
Dollars.
Many money dollars.
Yeah.
But they ended up. So now it's actually getting. They're actually opening the fucking present. It's
the field jacket. So there are field jackets, that get open that literally have been there for 100 years waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like, oh, this is a new species, and sometimes it's like labeled and it's like says it's like, oh, it's a hadrosaur, and then
this is a diplodocus.
This is not
really,
a hadrosaur. This is like an ankylosaur or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a present when you open it. You don't
That's
know.
what I'm hearing. It was all a lie.
Well, no, the thing is, when you see it in the field, you don't always see.
No, I know. I'm just making a joke. Yes.
Oh.
It's very much so. Yes.
Yeah, so that's sometimes fun, like when they open the jacket and they find something that they don't expect,
mm-hmm.
because then, like sometimes they open it up and it becomes even more interesting. Sometimes they open it up and it's like, oh, it's not what we thought.
I've opened artifact boxes like that haven't been curated in 70 something years. And you open the box and there's a skull. Shit.
Yeah.
On the osteology department. Why is this here?
Because it's been there since 1952.
I was gonna say a friend of mine had an internship at a museum at the local museum here. And he was one of his tasks was to unbox this like loan, I guess it was, but it had been like boxed up since the 1950s, and or actually earlier than that. So he had to like go through this box and see what was inside, and the fossils were wrapped in newspapers from World War II. So we were opening them up and like reading the daily news of like, this happened and that happened.
Wrap things and like you're opening them up and you're like, this newspaper is so old.
I know.
That was part of the conservation issue that we had with the Crow Flies High collection. The first problem with it when I was going to school is that Crow Flies High is a site from North Dakota, not Montana.
Right.
But it is in the Montana repository at the university because the guy who excavated it is the guy who's like the father of the anthropology program here. And he excavated it in the 30s during the WPA era. But all of the artifacts were wrapped in newspapers and packed in empty ice cream cartons.
Oh no.
So every single artifact, say me folded knife is an artifact. We bag it, we tag it, we put it in a bag. Then we get a bigger bag and we bag and tag the paper it was wrapped in. And it goes in the bag. And then we bag and tag the ice cream box. And it all goes together. And then that big bag goes in the box.
Oh my God.
And we had to do that for 52,111 artifacts.
That sounds about right.
Including, because the Crow Flies High is a Mandan Hidatsa village, which also had a fur trapper fort
in the Newtown reservation? Was this in the Newtown reservation?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was living when I was working up there.
But we have it's an interesting spot because it's very a collision of cultures. You have both obviously European, obviously indigenous, and then a mixture and a utilization of both artifact bases coming together. And one of the things we found was an actual elephant ivory billiard ball. Don't know why it was in the collection, but there it was.
Because there was some saloon there that had it.
In North Dakota, eh?
I guarantee you, it's a saloon in North Dakota. I know these things. I know it. It was there. It has to be.
Wow.
That is welcome to North Dakota. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I only went to North Dakota once, but it was
not missing anything.
For a very strange reason, I went to go play Pirates Cove mini golf.
So you went to Bismarck?
Yeah, I went to Bismarck. That's right. I went to Bismarck.
That's literally the only one in the state. That's Bismarck.
Yeah, we went across Canada and then we came back through the northern United States. My brother was super into Pirates Cove. We'd been to locations in other places, and my parents were like, "Hey, let's head on. We might as well. It's not that far of a detour." And we went and we stayed at a hotel right across the way from the mini golf. We went, played the mini golf, and then left.
That's funny.
I find it funny how the only fun place in North Dakota apparently is in a town that's named after a German, and they're not known for being fun.
Yeah, the Bismarck was the whole Bismarck was not a fun situation, let's just say. Anyway. Yep.
Von Bismarck.
Yeah.
Well, I know I said at the beginning of the show we'd probably only do an hour.
Oh, well, I mean,
but I'm not saying we got to end the show. I'm just letting you know if you need to leave or anyone needs to leave.
Jimothy has pointed out that apparently North Dakota now doesn't exist.
That's Wyoming, darling.
It's Wyoming.
North Dakota exists. Wyoming
and
doesn't.
Montana. I don't know why people keep thinking this place is real.
They don't realize that you're not real either.
I'm not. I'm a figment of their imaginations.
You are fictional, as we all are.
I as a figment. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I am suffering from bad allergies / a cold or something along those lines, and I was very adamant. I was like, I don't know if I can make it past an hour. I am very fascinated by this conversation. Let us. I will push myself. I am very
excellent. I am very happy to continue nerding out. You just point me in the right direction, and then I will nerd.
I want to talk about. Well, you did a few TikToks. I want to say it was about 2 months ago.
Oh my gosh.
I think I did a reply to one of yours.
Okay.
I don't remember who it was that was like, somebody posted what was your favorite animal in the, what's your favorite animal that's alive either today or back then? And
I actually didn't do a response to that. I did a response to it, but I never posted it because it kind of came too far. I was gonna pick Galliaspids because I was like, they're really cool. And that was what is her name? Lindsay Simba is her?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, what's the weirdest fossil creature?
What's the weirdest one that you like? What's the weirdest animal?
And there were so many good ones. And
so
many good ones.
I settled on Entelodont. I settled on Entelodont because
Entelodonts are great.
Because 2/3 of its weight is in its skull.
Yeah, and they're like kind
how
of
does
weird killer pigs.
This warthog from hell.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really not like there's kind of like they're so ugly, but they're not cute. Like they're not so ugly. They're cute.
I misspelled it.
Entelodont, and that is not an entelodont. No,
E-N.
I can't.
N. Hold on, I'll spell it in the private chat very quick. You can just copy and paste.
Okay. So yeah, entelodonts are cool. I like. There's just kind of again. There's every Burgess shale creature could be a cool one, but I feel like jawless fishes don't get enough time in the spotlight.
The fucking shark that has
Helicoprion, but that one is like Evelyn Vollmer's thing. Like
I need to name my next character in D&D that.
Yeah.
Entelodont?
Helicoprion.
Yeah, Helicoprion. His teeth are like growing out.
Yeah, it's got a tooth whirl. It's got a tooth whirl, and they have reconstructed it many ways over the years. And they've sort of settled on one now, but it was at one point it was the upper jaw, and then it's the lower jaw, and then it's out. But they seem to have a better grasp on it now. The problem with sharks, though, of course, is because they have cartilaginous skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of teeth, but
Yeah.
you don't get the rest of the skeleton. And so you need like really good preservation. Oh, a kitten. Oh my gosh. Maya, actually, one of my cats has come to visit as well. Rigel, come here. Come here.
Wait, is he named Nigel from like Nigel Thornberry?
No, Rigel, like Rigel,
right.
Domineer of the Hungarian Empire from Farscape.
Yes. Fuck yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why has she not joined our nerd group sooner?
Yeah, because he wasn't around. My other cat is named Gwen, and she's named after Guinevere from Dris Duerden, the Dark Elf Forgotten Realms book series. She's an astral plane panther. She's black. So those are my two kitties. And then we have a dog, Kaylee, and she's named after Kaylee from
Firefly.
So we have the nerd trifecta.
Nice.
Animals.
The nerdisms.
Very nice.
The nerdisms are the nerdisms are.
That's why it's called Nerds and Heresy.
I
yeah.
identified so strongly with Kaylee in that show. It was like so strongly, just because she was so sweet and naive, and she felt like a very good interpretation of who I am as a person.
I identified with her because she was so nice and happy and friendly that nobody took her seriously, and that sometimes I get that, like, it would be very frustrating because I'm like, hello, I'm very excited, and then people would be like, what, like, and then they don't take me seriously. That was something that happened a lot to me in my professional life, and that was a bit frustrating at times. But I chose kind of the more neutral background. If I'd done this in my if I'd done this in my living room, we would have had a Ministry of Silly Walks poster behind, and then some
there you go,
R2D2 and C3PO stuff. Oh, I missed that. What was that?
I'm just saying hi to
you.
Titan is a.
I'll be right back.
Sure, it's not Punk Snail.
Punk Snail.
Are you paleo guys sure it's not?
Oh, the teeth are very obviously shark teeth.
Yeah, they're very obviously shark teeth.
It's not a punk snail. It's definitely very obviously.
It would be really cool if it was a spiky snail. Don't get me wrong. Yes. It would be neat, but it's definitely not.
Gastropods are cool too. Invertebrates don't get enough love.
Spikes on it, isn't there? The nautilid. Is it a nautilid or ammonite that has those little spikes on it that are? I think it's a nautilid.
Oh, they're ammonoids. There's ammonoids that have some. So ammonites can have like smooth shells, but there are some that do have some like.
That's ammonite. That's a Pokemon.
Yeah, ammonite is based off of ammonite. So when I was
like, the fossil Pokemon are hilarious because they are based off of real fossils.
Yeah.
Yes, and so sometimes when the kids are like, you do a program for kids, and you'll be like, this is like ammonite.
Like,
this is like ammonite.
Oh,
there it is.
I love those.
But some of them have ornamentation on the outside, so they'll have like little. It wouldn't be so.
Yeah, some of them have like those crazy zigzags and stuff. And I remember. Let me rephrase. I remember studying about why those existed in different environments, but I don't remember.
Suture. Are you talking about the suture lines on the end? Okay, let's talk about ammonite suture lines then. So ammonites. Okay, so ammonites, of course, are cephalopods. So they're related to squid and octopus, and cuttlefish and things like that. Their closest living relative is the nautilus, and they have a shell that is divided into chambers.
You get like
these septa here.
Right, so
exactly.
And the zigzag, and then you have the swivel.
And I wonder if you could see it. So where these walls meet the outside part of the shell is very complex in ammonites, and I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see a little bit of the dip that's in the the indentation.
So, but there's actual suture lines there, like the very complicated suture lines there. Do you see
those are like the growths, right?
Yeah, so these suture lines are where these walls are meeting the outside part of the shell. In a nautilus, that connection is very smooth.
Right.
In ammonites, they can be smooth, but they get more and more and more and more complex. They almost look like fingers, and the shape of those can be one of the identifying factors. Like when you're identifying species of ammonites, one thing you look for is the suture The suture lines can sometimes be something that you use to help identify what type of ammonite that is. And this ammonite,
those are interesting. I can't
this ammonite is also partially ammonite. Like right here, there's, I don't know again if you can see my camera, but it's a little bit red there. So that is when that happens to an ammonite, that's now a gemstone.
Very interesting.
So it can be green or blue as well. Red and green are the most common colors.
Red you can get them opalized too, can't you? You end up
yes.
with
These are not opalized though. It's a little bit unclear the method of preservation, what's exactly happening there, but I think it's like copper and iron and stuff. I think is the current thing.
With opal specifically, it's the constant movement and influx of water. Through its petrification. So it's just
for sure
one shot pony type of thing. It's where like what it's preserved with is what it gets with most. When it comes to opal, it's a constant movement of water. That's the reason why you end up with that opaline structure. It's very pretty.
Yeah. Obviously, different minerals are going to cause different colors, and that's why fossils come in so many different shapes and colors. You can have pyrrhotized fossils, which are very shiny, because they look like fool's gold, because they are fool's gold. But then you have things like Black Beauty, which is
pyrrhotized. Which are cool as shit.
Well, the little trilobite I had was pyrrhotized.
Yes.
Yeah, pyrrhotized. So, and then there's things like Black Beauty, which is the bones are all black because they're stained with manganese, like there's manganese rich minerals in the bones. So not all fossils are the same color. I once
if it's rich in iron, the bone
not
will be
all
more yellowish,
fossils are equal.
Iron-rich fossils are actually kind of like a reddish brown. Like they're usually like a reddish brown color. The ones, so the dinosaur fossils that you're probably most used to seeing that come out of like the Western North American Badlands, a lot of those are preserved in like that. A lot of like iron-rich sandstones, and so they have a sort of reddish brown color to them is pretty characteristic. I mean, there's other fossils, of course, in other places that have different colors.
I don't have my fossils with me. I just wish I did, so I could like start pulling things out as you were talking.
I do have somewhere. I do have one dinosaur fossil. This was given to me, and it had an export permit. It was it had a permit this is a fossil from the Badlands. And it was allowed to be sold. It had its permit and everything. It was all done legit. My friend got this for me. So this is this is a hadrosaur toe bone. So it's very small, but it's one of the more distal. So the further out to the end of the toe. And you see the reddish brown color. Color.
I have one vertebrate fossil.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from a gravel. It comes from a gravel quarry. It was already tumbled, and it had already gone through all of its basically it's gone through the water, and it was a till formation. So we know it was dropped along with a bunch of other gravels, but then I happened to reach down into a pile and pull it up and realize that there was a bone in it, and they're like, we have absolutely no way to identify this. Yeah. But we know it's vertebrate. And I was like, would you like it in the museum? And they were like, it is one of the ugliest fossils. We can't do anything with it. You might as well take it home. And I was like, oh, so I have like a big rock with a bone. Nice. So it's so typical. Like typically it's something you could like just draw. Like I shit you not. It's literally like a circle with a bone. Yeah. That's nice. It's nice though. I'm like, yay. Yeah. It's doing a lot of good there with you. Whereas it would sit on a shelf and not be appreciated at the museum. Because it's a high hematite rock. Right. So it's a it's a type of sandstone that has a shit ton of hematite in it. So it's like has a look to it. It's gorgeous and it's so dense. And then you can just see like how it got tumbled and how it gets weathered away, and I can show you like all these different things. So I use it for education reasons, but it's doing more good on my shelf than it is in a cupboard somewhere. So dinosaur ones. Oh no, darling.
Anton, that is Glen Rose, Texas, which is coincidentally the only place where the Creationist Museum, who wants such a thing to be real, is located. See where I'm going with this?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is established about the creation, about the footprints that are in Glen Rose, Texas, is that they are a dinosaur. Now, what do they know about this particular dinosaur? It has 3 toes. It walked very heavily on the center mass of its foot, not its toes. And it left a track bed about 50 yards long. Now, there is a bunch of tracks that exist alongside of it, because travel corridors since animals started walking on land, travel corridors are used by multiple species. Now, there are a number of smaller tracks along this, which coincidentally, if you were to squinch/look away, drink many sacramental wines, and get drunk, you would then see that there is a oval in the front and a circle at the back, which, if you think about where your foot rests on the ground, the pad at the front of your foot and the pad at your heel, oval, round. So there's lots of conjecture about what are actually probably smaller predatory dinosaur footprints, but they are so blown out. They are barely visible, and they are, they could be. I asked Nat about this probably when we first started talking on TikTok. What do you know about this particular formation, which turned out to be little more than an air pocket in a rock or a mouse burrow? Now, in archaeology, we find rodent burrows all the time, and it's something we have to contend with when actually aging a site. There's a site in Mexico that it has been well established to be 18,000 years old. Hundreds of pieces of evidence point to that. And then they had 3.
Yes.
That is
fake.
not.
That's
That
fake.
is not real.
That's not real.
That
That-
doesn't look
It
anything
said
like
Creation
a
Evidence
theropod.
Museum. Is what I thought.
Fake.
Oh no, that's
So-
real. That's at the museum, but it is a fake fossil.
Like,
So
there's
the
no
other
way
thing about these
that's
fossils,
not what theropod dinosaur footprints look like.
I need
They're
to
not
point
round
out.
like that.
They're not round. Yeah, that looks more like a salamander hand footprint. I just want to throw that out there. Salamander.
Why are the edges sharp?
Face.
Oh.
Well, their audience is not professionals. Their audience is
No.
young Earth creationists who believe the Earth
That's
is
not the
6,000
point.
years old.
But also, how can you see every single toe? Like, have you
They
ever
don't
walked
have
on
to
a
worry
beach?
about the
Like, that's
details.
not what your
Have you ever
footprints-
walked in the beach? Exactly.
That's not what your footprints look like.
No.
Anton, if you ever want to experiment, actually see, visualize what would exist if every single green light to create a fossil was hit. Take shoes off and step in sand,
Step in mud.
step in mud, step in gravel, and step in like regular topsoil, and see what kind of definition that you get when you pull your foot away. Because not only are you leaving a track, your foot is taking material with it. So you will be altering the shape of the track you leave behind. If you look at any of the confirmed fossilized tracks of humanoids anywhere in the world, they are very vague. Yes, they are a humanoid footprint. They might have 4 toes, they might have 3, they might have 5, because the matrix in which those tracks were laid did not capture everything. I've got a fantastic picture of a black bear track on my phone that I took 2 days ago. It has 2 toes. That's the only definition you got. However, from what we got from the size of it, we were able to establish that it's probably a 2-year-old, 2 to 3, and that it's a hind foot. Everywhere else in the disturbance of the track is just vague. It's a track. It's not a deer. It's not a cow. It's not an elk. It's not a guy wearing a shoe. It's a bear, and that's it. And you can see that throughout the fossil record anytime tracks are available. And Johanna knows more about the dinosaur aspect of it.
I mean, a track that's defined, like there are tracks that are very defined like that, but like you can see the impressions of scales and stuff. Like if it's that defined, you should also be able to see some of the skin impressions and things like that.
Mhm.
Like it's pretty, like if it's, I don't know. Also, like those toes are pretty thick. Like the whole thing seems a little
Suspicious.
a very suspicious.
Here's the other thing, and Anton, if you followed any of my TikTok stuff,
I think he does.
you'll know I harp on this a lot, is provenience. Paleontologists do the same sort of work archaeologists do in respect to data collection. Everything is written down. Everything is recorded. Because, say I'm a paleontologist, Johanna finds something, she finds a new species. And for whatever reason, I can say, prove it. I don't believe that you found a hominid species in North America. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
She'd have to present all of this evidence in where she found it, how deep it was, its point in three-dimensional space, all of the other factors that go with it.
And there's always pictures taken. Like we take pictures, you take pictures of the dig site, you map the dig site, then you give that information to the museum.
Everything.
Yeah, there's like you're going to have a GPS coordinate for where you got it, etc. And then you have to also like back up your work to why you think this is a new species. Like, what did you notice that was different about it? And then other scientists can come along and be like, no, that's the same thing that we've already found.
Yep.
And it happens all the time, like that people don't agree on that. And then it takes a while for it to come through because especially with paleontology, you're working with little bits and bobs, sometimes some little scraps. And sometimes it takes a second set of eyes. And that's the most important thing about science is that it takes a second set of eyes.
Peer review.
Yeah. Look at it. Yeah.
Peer review.
Peer review, but also just once it's even out, other scientists coming in and saying, hey, we're going to look at your data and we're going to, give our own perspective on it. And then it goes back and forth, right? Because that's, there's multiple people working on these types of animals and they collaborate sometimes. And sometimes, it's, they have some information or whatnot that goes back and forth, right? So yeah, like a great example of something like that is like the Tyrannosaur paper that came out earlier this year that wanted to split them into 3 different species. And then another paper came out with Tyrannosaur researchers and they refuted the arguments and said, look, this, that, and the other thing. And then it, you have problems.
Conveniently, no one really talked about the refutal. Like
I did.
You did.
She did.
Conveniently, a lot of news articles just like skipped over that. They're like,
Yep.
oh, these are 3 different.
Because the refutal brings it back to what's already recognized, and the new stuff is what's exciting.
Yeah. I was mad about that for a while because I got asked that question a bunch. They're like, so what do you think about these 3 new species? I'm like, no.
Are they?
Are they?
Are they new?
Are they really? Are they new?
Are they new? Are they juveniles? Are they elderly? Is it difference? Is it a small difference between structural?
Is there a mutation?
They did. Yeah, I mean, they did address some of this in the paper, like with they know which of the specimens they were using were juveniles and not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What the problem was, the characters that they chose, weren't consistent enough, didn't identify enough, like some of their species, like some of the specimens should have been able to, with the material that should have been able to be identifiable to the species level, were not able to be identified to the species level with the characters that they chose, et cetera, et cetera. There were some issues with the statistical methods that they used. Like there's a bunch of different arguments. They also had split up the rock formations in a way that's not the conventional way that they're split up. Like there was,
making it fit.
Upper, so there was a lot of it wasn't just one thing, it was a bunch of things and they laid them out very clearly, and like, who knows, maybe right now the original authors are are working on something to rebut it again. Like sometimes it goes back and forth, but that's good science. Good science is being, looking critically, like, both of these articles were peer reviewed, right, before they were published, and then again they're being scrutinized, because if something holds up to scrutiny again and again and again and again, then you have more confidence in that result, right? So that's the nature of science, is to constantly be, going over what other people have done. And also sometimes you get new information that they didn't have, like a new fossil being found, let's say, can sometimes totally change the whole perspective, right? Because we didn't have that piece of the puzzle before, and that's the nature of things. And so then we incorporate that into our understanding.
But that also takes time and lots of research.
Yes.
A great example kicking back to the archaeology side of things, a great example of this peer review work, lots of detail work, and comparison to multiple sites that have already been found and already been very well studied are the mastodons that they just published their papers on that were discovered in New Mexico in 2013.
Did you finally finish?
Hold on, I will flip it.
The skeletons that were found in New Mexico are dated to 36,800 years. They did carbon-14, and they did the dating on the collagen, which I don't know which particular testing method they did on that. But they tested these mastodon remains.
Oh.
Yes.
And they established that these mastodon remains are 36,800 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Within the evidence of the mastodon remains are tool marks on the bone,
Mm-hmm.
bones that have been modified into tools, and evidence of controlled fire,
Mm-hmm.
as well as detailed butchering methodology,
Mm-hmm.
like drilling a hole in the rib bones and then hanging the rib bones up to extract marrow out. That's been a thing that has been used by humanoids all over the planet for 100,000 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
It pushed back 100% with more evidence than the site in New Mexico, the site in the Yukon, and the site in Mexico proper. Pushed back humans being in the Americas an easy 10,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It took almost a decade,
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment this guy came out and said, all right, here's my findings, you bet you a buffalo nickel, every single one of his peers who may not have bought it tore it apart, put it back together, compared everything, and then they actually said, oh, hey, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is just a big roundabout way of saying, ask for that information for something like the Creationist Museum, and you will not get it.
No.
If you notice in the picture of the footprints, they're in a room with a backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
They remove them from the site. That, as you know, what I talk about all the time is oh, fuck no. You do not do that.
Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Hell
You
no.
know, why is that picture? Cameras have been around for how long? Anybody want to throw out there? 160 years?
Yeah.
So
Take a picture of it in
all the way
place.
to the far right.
Why is that picture taken in a room and
Far
not
right.
where it was found?
Found,
Wait,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that one you can see. No, go back to what you. Yeah, to the far
Oh.
right. You see, there's a gray
Real
picture.
quick. Real quick, looking at this picture,
Yeah.
why is the human footprint so clear?
Yeah.
Why is the
Because
human
if the-
footprint
Why is
under
the
the dinosaur?
Is it under
toe
or over?
so deep?
No, it's under.
It's under the dinosaur.
Yeah, this would be
Yeah,
one of those.
So
cases
why
where
is this
the
toe
dinosaur.
exactly? Why is that toe that the cursor is on right now? Why is that so sharp within the footprint? The human footprint would have crushed the matrix and the material down.
Mm-hmm.
That middle toe would have pulled material in upon it as it left. That would be distorted.
Look at how
There would
deep,
be a drag mark across the center of the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how deep the big toe is. It's
Yeah,
like a
why
finger
is that
with
so
something
deep?
into it.
Like-
Like that big toe.
How many
has-
people have actually, other than
Look how
dancers in
sharp
the
the lines
Bolshoi,
are.
who puts that much weight on their their big toe?
I mean, besides
Yeah.
ballerinas, but even then, like the all the other toes would be like bent. You know, like,
This would be a shitty ballerina because the second toe is a lot longer and the third toe.
Actually, that's actually good for ballerinas. Their second toe being the same length as their first toe or longer because of how the point shoes work. I don't know why I have that information in my head.
no, that's totally a thing though, because they need a second balance. They need a second form balance. Like the best
Yeah.
ballerinas have like 3 toes at
Yeah.
the same length. Like
Yeah.
it's
So I had this hilarious idea that I should actually do a YouTube series on trying to disprove fun creationist artifacts, and that I should like record my phone calls to the Creationist Museum,
Oh my god!
trying to trying to arrange a time to actually come study their artifacts?
I don't know. That seems like a bad. That seems like a poor.
I would love it. I feel like it might.
It's a very bad antagonistic idea.
I don't know. That seems like it would be a lot of aggravation. Like, I don't know. To me,
no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless you enjoy that sort of thing.
And my response, Jimothy, would be yes. I'm old, I'm tired, I'm creaky in my bones. I mean, I'm 6,000 years old in like hamster years, but that's not the point. They're not asking for the rest of that evidence. They're just asking for yes.
Which means as soon as you say no, they'll just go to someone else until they find someone to say yes. So it doesn't matter. So if for the chance of you saying yes, they will bring you on because then they have someone that has said yes. That's it.
Oh no, I'm like wanting
you're
to
tell them right
contact them to do testing and stuff on their artifacts and see if they'll suddenly be like, yes, we want to share our knowledge with the world, or no, we're going to keep it locked up, hidden, safe, so no one can talk about it other than us.
Yeah. I'd like to do some very small destructive sampling.
The freedom of information is not a thing in America, which is very sad.
Yeah. Fine.
Well, now
right there.
Oh my gosh, big sigh.
They made my sandwich wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's disappointing. A good sandwich is a very good thing, and to have it
a
made
spicy
wrong is
chicken
sad.
sandwich with crispy chicken is not a grilled chicken sandwich with mustard on it.
Is that from Wendy's?
Wendy's, you have failed me. Did they change their numbering system?
Yes.
That's my go-to sandwich too. I would be very disappointed.
Yeah, they've changed their whole menu up recently.
So when I said I would like a number 6, which has been my menu choice for 23 years at this point.
Yeah, they probably did the right sandwich, but it's the wrong
number. That's disappointing.
Did you see the bear claws? They came out. Also, just because I have to do, I did some digging. I did some hard digging.
LOL.
And I found the thing.
Oh.
Ricky.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I found it with some of my notes and other things involved in it. But this was one of my, I found it.
Okay.
I knew I had it. I just had to like hunt it down.
That's so cool.
We had James Tabor on to discuss the Waco massacre, and he's kind of a how do you say it? Just end of the world. What's it called? Apocalypse.
Expert in apocalyptic literature. He's an expert in a lot of shit, a lot of things, but apocalypse is
archaeology. Oddly enough, he's rather good at that as well, but specifically biblical times, historic, in that sense. But yeah, I knew I had read, like, he was saying things, and I was like, you're like quoting something. I feel like he's quoting something, and then he said, "Oh yeah," and then I had a book called Noble Death, and it looked like this, and he showed it, and I was like, "I have that book. I've read your book." Like, I didn't even realize that.
And she didn't even know who James Tabor was before that interview.
Ouch.
She was like, I have your book. Oh.
Well, so, I mean, I am bad about reading an author's work and then never looking up the author.
He also teaches the history of religion, which is, not something you read up on a lot.
No, but the person that he was with,
like ancient Judaism and stuff.
This was the person that we were supposed to talk to. Is his co-author, Arthur Droge.
That is his name. Yeah. He told me I need to reach out to him and get him on the show. I couldn't remember his name. I didn't write it down. Anyway.
Anywho, sorry. Side note.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you were sort of like hoping to talk about, but like
what is your favorite? What's your favorite dig that you've ever been or
Okay,
thing,
so okay,
thing you found?
This is easy. My favorite thing I ever found is I found a fossilized rabbit skull in the Arctic, standing next to the world expert on fossil rabbits.
Wild.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Is that the French guy?
No. She's actually passed away now. Her name is Dr. Mary Dawson from the Carnegie Museum, and she was an amazing lady who became a paleontologist, and in fact, like the head, like a curator and like a head of the museum paleontology department and stuff, long before ladies did that sort of thing. And she also did field work up in the Arctic in the 1970s and that sort of thing. And so my thesis supervisor was working in her field area and got in contact with her, and she like came up with us in like her 80s. She was like 83 years old or something in the Arctic with us.
It doesn't stop.
She was incredible. Like she would, like unbelievable. And so she had studied not only just fossil rabbits, but like rabbits from that, location, that formation. And we had been looking.
Sorry.
That's okay. And we've been like looking. We hadn't really found anything. And we were supposed to meet, we had split up into 2 teams, and we were supposed to meet the other half of our team for lunch. And we're just like walking along, and, Mary's talking to the other student, and they're talking. And I looked down, and I just saw this little shiny thing on the ground. And I was like, huh. And I took my trowel, and the area we were working in was all unconsolidated sediment. So it was like basically sand, but we were still getting fossils that were like 20 million years old. It was really cool.
No, I love that area. Like I want to just go walking around it.
Yes. So I took my trowel, and this shiny, I thought it could just be a pebble, and I went pop, and a whole skull came out. It was one of the teeth that I had seen, and the rest of the
enamel was shiny still.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Enamel. And I just turned to her. I was like, Mary, I found something. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's a rabbit. I was
like, boy, howdy.
And then we ended up. So then we had a photographer with us at that, for the museum. We had a photographer, and we called over the radio. We found something. And the photographer came on the thing and said, put it back and don't touch anything. Because he wants to come and video it.
Yeah.
So I had to leave. Yeah. So anyway, and so we went and we started digging, and the photographer was taking pictures, and we weren't really finding much. And so the photographer was on his knees, and they were getting cold. So he was like, I'm just going to take a quick walk. And then he walked a little ways away, and he was like, oh, I found something else here. And it was another rabbit. So there was one rabbit, another rabbit. And then we were digging at our spot. They had started digging at the other spot. This was on the last day of field work, by the way. And
of course it was.
Always the way it is.
Yes. And then, the next.
Every single time.
So then the person who was digging with me was like, well, we're not finding very much. So I'm going to go over there. I'm going to dig in their spot. And in between the 2, he found another one. So there was 3 now.
So you guys found like a bear, like it had to have been like not a nest, but like,
yeah.
Colony.
Yeah, so that's okay. So then another member of the team went to go to the bathroom over the ridge, and she came back with another one.
Oh wow!
She'd gone pee, and then so we're cleaning up, and we're trying to pack up. It's now, it's very, very late at this point because it's so late that we had to call base camp on the satellite phone to let them know, because there was a radio check-in of all the Arctic camps every night to make sure that nobody was missing from their camp. This was like a safety thing. So we had to call the main camp and be like, we're not lost. We're just digging. Like, we're not going to be back for dinner time call, right? And then, rapid fire success. I see that. And then, so it's 7:00 at night. We're so tired. We're so hungry. We want to go back to camp. And we had to clean everything up because we were supposed to be flying out the next day. So we had to collect as much as we possibly could that day because it was our only day to do it. And my friend picks up his backpack and takes a look. And he goes, there was another one under his backpack.
Wow.
So
this is the Ulna situation all over again.
So anyway, that was like the best day, and then we ended up being fogged in for 2 days. So we were like, we thought we were leaving, and then we couldn't because the plane couldn't come and get us. But that's a whole other story. But
2 more days of work.
I actually made a TikTok. No, we couldn't leave because they kept thinking that the fog would clear and they were going to come get us. So we had to stay in ours, and we would pack up the camp, and then they'd be like, no, the fog came back. We can't leave. So sometimes there was fog at our location. Sometimes there was fog at like where they were coming from. And so we'd be like, you can't come now. And they'd be like, okay. And then we'd be like, okay, you can come now. And they'd be like, no, we can't come. And so we would pack off everything up and sit there for like an hour, and we'd be like, the plane should have been here already. And then we would call again, and they'd say, no, we had to abort and we couldn't come. So we would then put our camp back together again, and it happened a couple times. It was an interesting thing, but I actually did make a TikTok about that, and that was the first one of mine that it didn't quite get 1 million views, but it got like 700,000 views.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was like my first one. Like I had a few that had gone like 100,000 or like 20,000, 30,000, but that was my first one where I almost hit 1 million. And then like a couple weeks later, I made my first one that hit 1 million views. And that one was liked by Hank Green. So I was like, ooh.
Who lives like 2 miles away from me.
Oh, yeah, of course, in Montana.
Yeah, in Missoula.
Of course.
Whoa, holy shit.
He's described where his house is because he's had to do like plumbing work and stuff. And
oh, fun.
So you can't do shit without Trump doing some shady shit.
Rumpled golf clothing. What? Did he get beat down by his KBG handlers? What's the deal?
Is he being arrested?
We'll find out soon enough. Oh, wait.
Is he being arrested or questioned?
I don't know.
Arrest him. Arrest him. Take him back to Washington. Make him the honorary president for a day, and then hang him. There's trees there.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
They probably still have the gallows.
As a Canadian, I can't really speak to any of this except for that I'm sorry.
Oh, we know plenty of Canadians that definitely want to speak about it.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadians that have very, very verbal opinions.
Yeah. I'll like I said.
But yeah, stereotypically. Sorry.
Sorry about that, guys.
The rabbits are cool, though.
Yeah,
the rabbits are cool. And that, like I said, being there with Mary Dawson, who is like rodent and rabbit expert, and also had done the field work there years ago in the 70s to bring that site to the forefront. It was the first time that they had shown fossil evidence of the Arctic being warmer in the past, and the types of creatures that had lived there, and there was deer and rabbits, and this is where my master's thesis fossil Puella was discovered as well. So it was a really cool thing.
Would this landscape have counted or been part of the Mammoth Steppe? Or would this have been kind of a different? It was like a boreal forest. So this was earlier than that.
It was like 24. It was like 24 million years ago or something. It was in the Miocene. Like it's old, and it was a boreal forest at the time. There's like fossil wood and stuff there.
Cool.
Sorry, not fossil wood. There's petrified wood there. Actually, it might be fossil wood because it's kind of.
Is it still called a fluffle?
A what?
In a group of bunnies called isn't a group of bunnies called a fluffle of bunnies?
Aren't these bunnies like the size of a Saint Bernard?
Yeah.
No, these aren't big. They're not big
they're
bunnies.
not. Oh.
No. They're not like giant. They were just like regular sized rabbits.
If I'm not mistaken, you were in the area similar to where they had research.
Tiktaalik. Tiktaalik is in a different place. That was Ellesmere Island. So it's a different part of the high Arctic, but it is there's so much. Cool.
There's so much up there.
So actually, my thesis supervisor asked me to write a song about Puella because Tiktaalik has a song. If you look it up on YouTube, tick 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 Tiktaalik, and so she asked me to write a song because I used to. Anyway, don't worry about it. And so I did, and it came to me I was in my tent, and it came to me, and I was so excited about it that I ran to the eating tent to tell her about it. But she was scared. She thought I was running because a bear had come or something. Because she was like,
no,
she's running. And I was like, no, it's okay. I just came up with the Puella song. And then I sang it to her, and she liked it. And then they videotaped it, and it's on YouTube. But I had hoped to put music, get my dad to play guitar, put music, do clips and videos and everything like that. The kind of things that I do with TikTok now, I had hoped to do then, but I didn't have any capability of doing that. And so it's just a very raw thing of me singing in the Arctic this Puella song, and then we're dancing in the middle, and then me talking about how cute Puella was with his whiskers and stuff. And it's horrifyingly
I
embarrassing.
need to look this up now.
It's not anyway.
If you would like to make yourself feel better, you have done this song, and it is on the internet.
Yes.
The entirety of the Bureau of Land Management of the U.S. Department of the Interior has a rap video.
Oh my God! Yes.
Okay.
From like 1992.
So
anything is better than that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something good. The Banff interpretive team made a song called Goats and Sheep to explain the differences between mountain goats and like bighorn sheep. And it is so catchy. It's like years later and I still sing it. That is interpretation masterpiece. You go and watch that. It's great. It's great. Goats and sheep.
Banff, goats and sheep.
Sheets and goats climbing high. We don't need no ropes. Nope. It's so good. Anyway.
That's catchy already.
It is super catchy.
Sheep and goats.
It's so good. Anyways,
Charles already did.
Someday I will get the guts to turn my Puella song into what I wanted, like with I do have it recorded, like me singing it, so I have to like post it to private to get the sound to then post a thing, right? Or I have to meddle with it.
We have a witness.
Oh yes, it is the best song. I still sing it all the time. But so yeah, when my friend showed me that, I was like, this is gold. This is the gold standard.
All the gold
for scientific education right here. Yeah. Anyway, someday maybe I'll post a TikTok of the Puella song with all the but I have not got the guts yet. I've done a few songs. They never do great, but sometimes I sing on my TikTok.
I like the geologic time sale song that they posted. They did animation for it on TikTok, and there's like a 4-part. I love that song. It's so good.
Yeah, that's what's her name? I follow her. I can't remember, but she did a song.
I can't remember her name either. I'd have to Google it.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's really good. And she like filmed it in her bathroom, or like she recorded it in her bathroom, and then they animated it, which was amazing.
Oh, that's so good. Somebody sent that to me when it came out, and it was so good. I was pretty proud of my welcome to the fossil record ones. Welcome to the fossil record. Take a look around. The remains of plants and animals buried in the ground. You know that one. I liked that one. I did 3 versions of it because there was one of my followers that kept being like, "This brings me so much happiness," and I was like, "Okay, I'll come up with some more words." That one I was proud of.
I still remember the very first time I had to listen to the Mole song in chemistry.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, I have to think about the tune for a second, but it's 3.022 times 10 to the 24th. Come on and say it. It's it talks about a mole as like a unit of measurement.
No.
No.
Okay, I still have all the Bill Nye the Science Guy ones, The faster you push me, the farther I get. You're adding velocity, like how that all.
I love it. Yes, I love
Oh man, the memories they come back.
What is this turned into? Is like me singing all science songs.
Just say you've been drinking, and it'll all be okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to. That's the thing. So my husband often says, "Don't sing your life," because I tend to do that.
Well, you guys, I love you so much. My voice is disappearing, and
I was gonna say, my husband has looked at me pointedly and went to bed a while ago.
Uh-oh.
No, in can you please come to bed? I'm tired, and your loud voice will keep me up kind of way because I have a very loud voice.
I feel that for you because I am also one of those that has the loud voice.
Yes, I can't help it. And the more excited I get, the louder it gets. And so there's definitely been several times behind the scenes that he's been going.
Ricky, you don't experience that with me at all, do you? Ever?
No. Totally not familiar with that. Well, tell him I said thank you for letting us borrow you.
We absolutely borrow you some more and on more occasions because do you know Forrest by any chance, or have you talked to him at all?
I have not talked to him in person, no, but I have. He recently become mutuals on TikTok, so I have. But I have not had the occasion to communicate with him. I am very honored that he followed me back.
Yeah, so we need to have a discussion with him because he comes on here every now and then as well. So we'll have to grab him.
Yes.
He's a busy guy, though.
He is.
Busy. We have to like plan this out like a month or two in advance to make sure we have time for him, but or make sure that he has time for us. But he is always down to nerd out.
Yes.
Oddly enough, his character, his acting on TikTok is totally and 100% him in real life. So
I don't know if it's come across, but that is also the case with me.
Yeah, no, same.
Same. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff coming up in the next little bit too. I'm actually going to be at a conference in October and November. I'm presenting about doing educational things on TikTok to a bunch of museum interpreters, tour guides, things like that at a conference in Halifax. Yeah, and then I also have a poster for the Society of Favorite Paleontology.
Posters!
Education and outreach poster session talking about paleo talk, because I was like, hey, scientists, do you know this is a thing? I can tell you all about it.
You realize that you can share your information for free to all ages?
Yes.
In a very popular format?
Yeah, and people who wouldn't be able to make it to the museum to talk to you in person, people that maybe didn't know they even wanted to know that information. So
that's smart.
Yeah. So speaking of TikTok-y things, I am working to, of course I am sick, so I have not done very much, but I am slowly becoming, I'm setting up a second channel for TikTok. It is going to be called Well and Septic Scientist. It is, I will be doing stuff about water quality and environmental management, waste reduction, stuff like that. And slowly adapting it into soil science and geology talks and everything like that. But I have not filmed very much for it yet. I am currently working on different scripts and ideas. But hopefully that TikTok will kind of set me up to have a YouTube channel to do educational stuff. So we'll see. But I just thought I'd share that information for those of you. The account exists. There's nothing on it yet. It's a picture of my dog. I am currently just in the works of creating it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. My filming has also slowed down because I'm trying to get ready for these conferences, and so I'm like, I feel so bad. I'm like, oh no, I'm not posting as much, but like, I think people understand. But you will get it.
Well and Septic Scientist.
Well and Septic Scientist. Send me a message, and I'll make sure to.
I was gonna say Winterschnitz just message. She's like, I want to follow. Like, you are welcome to. Nice. I will write the @ in Dadpool's Discord as well. So yeah. Yes, the shitty water. The TikTok of the shitty water. I will be talking about that one too, Charles. Yes.
The feces water.
I have multiple shitty water sample discussions that I have to go through. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight, I think.
All righty. Good night.
Let us end the program. Thank you all for
Awkward
coming.
waves.
Wait, I can do a really good one.
Okay.
That's a really good awkward wave. Thanks for having me, guys. Wait, what if I do like a little circle?
Flash some gang signs.
No, I would just not.
Real quick announcement before we leave. We're doing a bonus episode of Nerds and Heresy this Tuesday. It's just going to be me and Andrew Seibel, who wrote this book, American Crusade. He sent it to me. It's not out yet. It'll be out at the end of the month. But he sent me a copy. I got to read it, and I'm going to be interviewing him on it Tuesday. So that'll be fun. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, stay tuned. Oh shit! With the last name, Uwu.
I'm not saying
Uwu.
Uwu. Or should I do it, Manny? Like
Uwu. There you go. That's what you get.
Oh shit! You guys got bargained at Uwu.
There's a mechanic in Australia who has done whose thing has been the turbo noise from like a WRX, and they have now combined the turbo race car noise with this doo woo, and it's like, and now cars are senpai or something. I don't know. It's weird.
All right. Thanks everyone for hanging on. Stay tuned.
All righty.
I'm bad at ending shows. Love y'all.
Bye.